What's up, Beyonders? It's your co-host, Joe.
And your host, Bryson. This is episode 5 of Sports and Beyond!
Oh, we got a big announcement. As y'all can see, we got Merek back in for another episode. So Merek's going to come on this podcast weekly because y'all seem to really like him last episode. Shout out Steve Lopes. We got a comment from him saying that he really liked Merek. So here he is, weekly host, and we're excited to have you, Merek.
Yes, sir. Let's go.
Let's go,
Okay,
baby.
first topic we're talking about is probably one of the most shocking trades in NBA history. Luka Doncic. Very interesting trade. Anthony Davis gets sent from LA over to Dallas with a few other people. Max Christie to three-way trade with the Utah Jazz. I'm going to pick you guys' brains. Joe, you go first. What did you think about it?
So a little bit of backstory. Yesterday, I was working at a crab feed, and I just got done throwing a trash can to a dumpster. I hear a ring on my phone. I look at it. Group chat is blowing up. I click on the call. I click on the little bit image I got. Luka is a Laker. Now, this is a pretty crazy trade considering that Luka did not even request a trade, and the Mavericks fans love him, and he's insane. He's 25 years old. He's made the All-Star game every single year. He's made an All-NBA team every single year. His stats are comparable to NBA legends like Kevin Durant when he was playing and stuff like that. So he's been huge and an absolute – he carried the Mavericks to the finals last year, a couple of seasons ago, took him to the Western Conference Finals. He's a great player, and he's always been a great player for Dallas. And they just all of a sudden jumped the gun, and he's gone.
Yeah. I was also on my phone, and I got a sleeper notification, which is a fantasy app, and it said like Luka Doncic traded, and like I clicked on it and everyone was like, oh, the guy had to be hacked. I go to like ESPN, I'm like, this isn't like fake, like this is for real. And I was like, what was Dallas thinking? And like the only thing that I could really think of is that Dallas had their eyes on Anthony Davis, and the Lakers caught wind of it, and they just like threw out this like little like, oh, let's just give them Anthony Davis and like this like guy off the bench, and then maybe like a couple picks and call it a day. And then the Dallas were like, yeah, we'll take it for it. Let's do it. Like, I feel like it was like Lakers were trolling at first, and then they just managed to like get this like amazing person, like amazing player actually.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of backstory too. I'm not gonna lie. I just caught a Call of Duty dub. I went to go on Snapchat and take a picture and send it to my group chat, and I see ESPN said something about Luka and AD, and I was like, yo, what? Click on it, trade. I was like, this can't be real. You guys send a picture. I was like, what? I was like, this is fake. And then ESPN Sports Center, and I was like, there's no way. And then, yeah. Luka, I think, is grateful for the Laker trade. He says that he's excited to play with LeBron and all this. In my opinion, I don't think they'll click because Luka is very strong-headed, and LeBron likes to run his team because he thinks he's all that.
Le GM.
Yep. And then, Luka texted in his group chat with all of his like teammates from Dallas, and he was like, "I'm thankful for everything with you guys." And then he tweeted something or said something in an interview and said like he broke his silence and said he wanted so badly to bring a ring.
Yeah, his little goodbye letter to Dallas was pretty heartfelt, and he was saying,
because he didn't even know.
Yeah, he said that he would hope one day to bring a ring to Dallas, and he really wanted to win there. He was really getting along with Kyrie. Him and Kyrie were getting really good at sharing the backcourt. He had some really good teammates like Derek Lively, PJ Washington, and a pretty good relationship with the front office with Mark Cuban, and he was the guy that kind of brought the great feeling of basketball back to Dallas, and he was the guy that resurged Mark Cuban and his legacy. And all of a sudden, the Mavericks trade him because they don't want to pay him money. Personally, I think Luka is one of, if not the best point guard in the league right now. And why are you not giving him the max amount? Because he has elevated this franchise, been playing since he was 19, been playing at an elite level ever since, has not slowed down, made the All-NBA team every year, made the All-Star game every single year. He's finished an MVP, at least top 8 in MVP voting every single year. He's been the franchise guy for the Dallas Mavericks, and they just all of a sudden trade him because they don't want to pay him. But in my personal opinion, I would give the man his money.
Yeah, it's interesting too. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Merek.
I was gonna say from an outsider like position to say like, oh, I would give him the money too. I think everyone should agree, and I think even Mark Cuban and them agree. But to an extent, you got to realize the cap space. Where are they at, like currently with money? What can they afford? Like Kyrie should deserve a bag too, from him being that age and still balling. I mean,
That's true, but Kyrie's going to be a free agent this offseason, so who knows if they'll even I mean, now that they traded Luka, they have an excuse to re-sign Kyrie, but I thought that the plan should have been re-sign Luka and let Kyrie walk because Kyrie's an amazing player, but if I had to
he's
pick
at that age where he's not. Yeah, if I had to pick, I'm picking Luka.
I'm picking Luka. He's 25 years old. He's only 25 years old, which technically in the NBA still isn't his prime year, and the Mavericks traded him away. Now, we haven't really been looking at the Mavericks side of this trade. The Mavericks, this is a decent move for the Mavericks, although
no.
You could yeah, whatever.
In reality, it's not. I've seen so many like meme pages on Instagram who saying like, "Oh, Mark Cuban was high whenever he didn't even know about the trade." Like it's just like I don't know. That's such a ballsy move to do because to go from an all-star, dropped 74 points last season in a game, averaging. Currently, he's injured, but he's still averaging 28.1 points, 8.3 rebounds, and 7.8 assists per game in 22 games with the Mavericks. In 22, that's it.
His career average is 28 points per game, which is the third most of all time, which is extremely impressive because I think only Will and Michael.
And playing since he was 19.
Yes.
He's 25. That's in 6 seasons. That's really good.
Europe too. He was playing in Europe when he was like 16, so he's always been a baller.
Well, what I've seen is said he said this in an interview. Said in good times and bad, from injuries to the NBA Finals, your support never changed. Doncic continued. Thank you not only for sharing my joy in our best moments, but also for lifting me up when I needed it most. Doncic also added, to all the organizations I've worked with throughout the Dallas community, thank you for letting me contribute to your important work and join you in bringing light to those who need it. As I start the next part of my basketball journey, I am leaving a city that will always feel like a home away from home. He said, basketball means everything to me, and no matter where I play the game, I'll do so with the same joy, passion, and goal to win championships, and that's where he left. I haven't seen nothing from AD. If you guys have seen anything, please let me know because I haven't seen crap.
I haven't seen anything from Anthony Davis. And like Joseph said earlier, Luka Doncic came into the league at 19. So, like, Dallas is his home. Like, this is, like, his second home away from home. So it's kind of interesting to see him not even knowing that the franchise was kind of giving up on him.
Same with AD.
Away. Yeah. Well, I feel like AD did a lot for the Lakers, but I feel like both teams are kind of like in a win now, and they're kind of like, I don't know what's going on because like the coaches
for a win now situation. I think the Lakers made the better move because Luka's so young.
Yeah,
and LeBron's probably still got 3-4 seasons.
The Dallas management said that they wanted defense wins championships, but if you watch the game today, they were down 19-53 or something like that in the first quarter. So how's defense going for them? It's not going too well. So it's definitely to see.
I think the Lakers might have made a crazy bid that ended up working in their favor, but they didn't realize is Luka's ineligible right now with his contract because he has a 300. He's ineligible one for injury and two with this $375 million contract. They have to completely reconstruct that, and Luka's going to want his money for the age he's at and how much he's averaging.
And how he just got traded from his city like that. That statement he delivered, he's not going to be happy.
Well, there was after the game. I don't know if it was last night or 2 nights ago. But reporters were talking to him, and at the end of the conversation, AD was like, "Yo, you guys are making it sound like I'm about to get traded or something." And then we find out later that night or the next day that he gets traded. So, and LeBron said he didn't hear about it until he was at dinner with his family and knew nothing about it.
Yeah, people on the court,
that means what's his face? Mark Cuban called the Lakers or something, called JJ. Hey, bro.
Make a deal.
There's a lot of interesting things that goes on. I mean, I think both parties might do pretty good. I feel like the Lakers might do a little bit better when Luka gets healthy.
I don't know because this could bring back AD from the Pelicans. This could bring him back. This could be a spark. Because
I wish Boogie never got injured on that Pelicans team because AD and Boogie, both in their primes, would have done some damage.
Because AD was good on the Lakers, but I think he was influenced by LeBron for being soft.
First 2 years,
every time he gets touched, he was just a baby.
First two years for the Lakers, he was a dog, and then ever since then, he's just been day to Davis, injured a lot.
Yeah, but when he's healthy, he's a very dominant two-way
Very,
player.
very,
He
very.
can score. He can defend. So
He's
if
like
he
a
stays
Dennis
healthy,
Rodman kind of a thing.
if
Yeah,
both
Dennis
players
Rodman
stay
has-
healthy, it's going to be pretty good. So I'm kind of
We'll
interested
see.
in seeing that.
Hey,
Okay,
but this
next.
isn't the only trade. So let's talk about
Yeah,
the next one.
I was about to. There's another trade. It's interesting. De'Aaron Fox trade. Joe, how do you feel about this trade?
Let me. This is how I feel about the De'Aaron Fox trade. I am not a fan of this trade. Horrible trade made by the Kings front office. The Kings traded De'Aaron Fox, Jordan McLaughlin, and Kevin Huerter in total in a 3-team trade, and received Zach LaVine. I don't know how to pronounce this guy. He's got a goofy name, but he's a role player. 3 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks. I think this is horrible for a numerous amount of reasons because, one, in the last episode, we talked about how De'Aaron Fox was the heart of the Sacramento Kings team. He played with Malik Monk in college. He was the one that convinced DeMar DeRozan to come to the Kings. He was the one that convinced Sabonis to sign his extension. He's the one that got Mike Brown fired, which has been better for the team. And he just gets traded without even asking for a trade. He's been averaging 25 points per game this season, which is elite, absolutely elite for a point guard, especially of his caliber. And they just trade him away like it's nothing. And I get it. The Spurs, they needed a point guard, a very good point guard like De'Aaron Fox. But the Kings were doing pretty good. I mean, they're 24-24 right now on a bit of a losing streak. But they were doing pretty good with Doug Christie at the helm. And they trade him away for Zach LaVine, who's a little bit older than De'Aaron Fox and is obviously not better than De'Aaron Fox. Sure, he's a better three-point shooter, and he can play some defense, but Fox could play some great defense. It was averaging 25 points per game, and I think this is and he was my favorite player, like, ever. Loved De'Aaron Fox, watched him in Kentucky, and this just broke my heart hearing this news today.
Yeah, it's a very emotional trade for anybody who's a fan of the Sacramento Kings. I definitely am not a fan of it, but on the bright side, I feel like no. Listen, no.
Kevin Huerter's gone. That's the bright side.
Yes,
that's the bright side.
I also want to argue that I feel like the Kings got more out of the De'Aaron Fox trade than the Mavericks got out of the Luka Doncic trade.
They did, but
that's the only bright side of this trade. Now you also have to listen, Joe. Oh my gosh,
the Spurs are sneaky smart because the Spurs only traded Zach Collins and Trey Jones and 3 first-round picks. None of their core players. They didn't trade Castle, Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Chris Paul, Harrison Barnes. They didn't trade any of them. They are sneaky and good at what they do. And I think they didn't fleece the Kings, but they definitely got the better end of this deal.
No, they definitely got the better end, but the Kings also didn't come out empty-handed. Like you said, 3 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks. Zach LaVine,
one of those picks is protected.
Okay, yeah, but it's a protected top 10 protected from the Bulls. But you have to realize that it's a couple years in the future, so there's still some beneficial things that go on. It's just I'm happy that we at least got something out of it rather than nothing. So there's a lot to take in from it, but we got something out of it. It's not like we got finesse like the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah. I was going to say something, but I'll save it for the next topic. But I think that the Bulls, they got a good end of this trade. They only gave up Zach LaVine, and they got Kevin Huerter, Zach Collins, Trey Jones, and I think they also got a pick. Yeah, they got a first-round pick. I think that's a pretty good move for the Bulls. And for the Spurs, we didn't really – I know everyone, all these viewers know how we feel about De'Aaron Fox leaving the Kings. But the Spurs got a good end of this deal because they got Jordan McLaughlin and De'Aaron Fox. Jordan McLaughlin, irrelevant. Like, get him out of here. He's probably going to get cut. No offense to Jordan McLaughlin, but huge offense to Jordan McLaughlin. And there's De'Aaron Fox. And De'Aaron Fox, like I said, averaging 25 points per game this season on a crowded Kings team. He is going to shine on the Spurs because he has Victor Wembanyama. Him and Victor Wembanyama are going to run this show. Wembanyama is going to be the guy that's playing two ways, playing a great offense, great defense. De'Aaron Fox is going to kind of step into a Chris Paul role while also scoring. So I think this is an amazing move for the Spurs. And they also have Chris Paul to mentor De'Aaron Fox. So,
yeah. Merek, do you have anything to say about this topic? Or
I'm not a big Kings guy. I haven't really followed him too much, but how this trade has hit me is kind of like an OKC thing for me. Because I remember when they traded, I was a big Russ fan. Russ was my dog.
Russ.
I grew up with him and KD on the same team, and I remember when they traded KD, I called him a snake, and I hated him, but he grew up.
Nobody liked KD, dude. That was
It was shady. So that was different. But like, then they traded a couple years later. They traded Russ, and then they traded a couple others, and it was more like they're ready for that rebuild. And turns out that they ended up OKC's very powerful. How they drafted like 3 solid, I think, first rounds, and then just built from there. And that might be what the what's it called, Kings are doing, because they did get a lot of picks, and they still have Zach LaVine to build around. Which I mean, Zach LaVine isn't crazy, but with a team,
it's crazy. They got Sabonis. That's a better way to say it.
Sabonis. So okay, there's 2, I mean, veterans at least that are on that squad, and they could get a 1,
DeMar
3,
DeRozan, Keon Ellis,
DeMar,
Malik Monk, Keegan Murray.
Keon Ellis is not a veteran.
No,
but there are some
like
people to build around.
Players on there, yeah. There's
because like OKC built from literally nothing. They built from nothing.
Because I know you're talking about the Paul George trade when the Clippers traded SGA and a stupid amount of picks, and like I think they traded. I don't remember the other guy. It was Danilo Gallinari. Stupid amount of picks. Like they.
And I think we got Chet from.
They got Chet.
Yeah. I don't really. They just happened to pick perfect people that blended together, and they played their card right. Which Kings, I don't know if they really have a good pass, I would say, of draft picks, but there are chances.
Thomas Robinson over Dame Lillard, Jimmer Fredette over Klay Thompson. The list goes on and on and on.
Oh, we could have.
I mean, the Niners
too.
I mean, the Niners don't really draft great either.
No, the Niners are late round. The Niners miss on their first round picks, but they always hit in their late round picks.
I think that's just a luck.
No
way Purdy should be that good.
Purdy, Drake Greenlaw, George Kittle, Hufanga, Fred.
That's
Warner.
what I'm saying, but they aren't good in their first years. I mean, other than Brock Purdy, he was, but like
Fred Warner was good second year.
So I'm saying, so like you never know. It could always be a luck of the draw. Because maybe that was something they needed. They needed like a spark to get them to go.
I guess.
So, you never know. Okay. Beam can't be closed yet. You don't know.
Beam's never closed. Come on, get that right. Okay, moving on. What's next for the Kings? Obviously, no more De'Aaron Fox. We have a couple picks.
I think it's a rebuild.
You think? You think that the Kings are just pulling the trigger, selling, and hoping to rebuild?
Maybe not completely yet right now. Maybe it was just a deadline to start it. But by the offseason, I think there will be some big moves made.
Okay. Yeah, and it's kind of bouncing off what Merek said. So they could be partially rebuilding, like building up parts of their roster while they let DeMar DeRozan, Sabonis, LaVine, they kind of like carry the wavelength of the squad. However, I don't know if that's going to work, especially since they traded De'Aaron Fox and Jordan McLaughlin, 2 point guards. The Kings are left without a starting point guard. I mean, Malik Monk is technically a shooting guard, but he's played like a point guard. So yes, we have Malik Monk, but all we have is Malik Monk and Devin Carter. So if you look at the Kings starting lineup right now, it probably looks like Malik Monk at point guard, Zach LaVine or Keon Ellis at shooting guard, depends on the night. DeMar at small forward, Keegan at power forward, Domantas Sabonis at center. So that's a pretty strong core, but we don't really have anybody off the bench to come in at point guard besides Devin Carter, and we're just lacking overall in the guard position after trading De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, I don't know what the Kings are really going to do. Think they're hoping that Zach LaVine will land out and produce, but then they also have to think about like De'Aaron Fox was our clutch, like he was clutch. So how are we going to get points late in the fourth if DeMar DeRozan isn't going to be performing? Like, what are they going to do there? So it's interesting to see, very interesting to see. I'm just hoping that the Kings can pull it in and hopefully produce something with these picks because they got a 2025 pick coming in. So there's a chance that they get something from another team. It's interesting. It's very, very interesting.
Yeah, and I think overall this was not a good move for the Kings, and they were doing pretty good with Doug Christie at the helm with De'Aaron Fox, but I guess only time will tell. We just need to hope that the Kings hit on all their draft picks, even though the Kings have a horrible history of doing that. Like we said, Jimmer Fredette, Thomas Robertson, Georgie Papagiannis, all those guys, huge misses in this draft and drafting in general. So hopefully that they hit on their draft picks and they can build the future off of these new young players.
Yeah. Very interesting. You guys ready to move on to the next topic, or is there anything else you guys wanted to say about this?
No, I don't got anything.
Okay,
like perfect. Let's all just cross your fingers and hope.
NFL award predictions, not including MVP. We've talked about the MVP multiple times. So now we have a bunch of other things like Offensive Player of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, stuff like that.
All right. So can I start us off?
Yeah, Joe, you can start us off. Tell us the subject or tell us the category, and then we'll give our opinions on it.
Okay, so we'll talk about Offensive Player of the Year first. So I got a list right here. The Offensive Player of the Year of the award finalists are Saquon Barkley, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Derrick Henry, and Lamar Jackson. So personally, I think we talked about this before. If Saquon doesn't win MVP, which I don't think he will because it's a quarterback award, Saquon's getting Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
You could make an argument.
I'm gonna have to back that. But I really want to make I want to agree Saquon, but I really want to argue Joe Burrow.
Okay, yes.
Joe Burrow had such an elite year, but his team at 8 and 9.
Yeah, barely missed the playoffs.
It was barely missed the playoffs because the team won when they were projected to lose, and it shafted him, so he even get to make his comeback to why he is an MVP finalist. But if people know the game, it can go between those two, and I won't be mad for either of them. But in reality, I don't know if he'll get it just because of that. They'll be like, "Oh, well, if you can't win games, then it literally means nothing."
Yeah.
Well, it's weird because like Joe, it's not that Joe Burrow didn't win the games; it's the defense lost them the games. So
okay, but you got to think people vote. People don't pay attention to that, and blame goes on QB because he's the captain of that team.
If you look
people
at
don't
stats,
vote for awards. It's NFL executives.
Yeah, if you look at the stats, like Joe Burrow definitely was by far the leader of that team. And if you look at how the defense
4,000 yards.
Yeah. Like he put up insane numbers. So it's not like he wasn't doing his part. It was the fact that his defense wasn't doing their part. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah. May I? So I feel the need. I talked about Jamar Chase, and then Merek went on talking about Joe Burrow. I think Jamar Chase could make a case for this argument because Jamar Chase has 1,708 yards and 17 touchdowns this season, averaging 100 a game, which is really elite. 17 touchdowns as a season is very good. Hard for
a fantasy wide receiver 1.
Bro, I wish I drafted him. I took Tyreek Hill. in a lot of my drafts.
I took him and Lamar, baby.
Oh, man. That must have been – it was the worst year of fantasy for me out of all the years I've played. But Jamar Chase has had a really good season. We talked about Saquon. We talked about Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. There's Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. So you guys know Lamar is honestly my MVP. I do like Josh Allen more, but Lamar's arguably my MVP. I've talked about him, 4,000 yards, 41 touchdowns, 4 picks, 915 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns, elite. But I don't think it will be enough to be past Jamar or Saquon Barkley. Then you got Derrick Henry, who also had a great year. But when you put Saquon Barkley and
Henry,
kind
of is in his shadow.
Yeah, so Derrick Henry's
it's the same thing with college with like Ashton Genty, and then you have Cam Scatterbo right behind him in his shadow, kind of just under the radar because of how elite. Exactly.
Both elite players.
Saquon, if Saquon hit that record, he would be the obvious MVP or offensive MVP. There is no doubt. But you got to realize he did sit himself out of a game when he only needed like 150. No, it was like 101 yards. That's all he needed. But he also sat out in 6 other games at halftime and said, let the guy under me play. He needs more reps. Like that's a team captain thing that I think gets him the offensive MVP.
Yeah, he would have definitely broken the record if the Eagles just weren't a good team. It pains me to say that because I don't like the Eagles, but
I hate the Eagles.
So we talked about Offensive Player of the Year. So now we got Defensive Player of the Year. So that's Zach Bond, Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson, Pat Surtain, and TJ Watt. So I feel like TJ Watt's on this list every year, but he's always just short of it. Last year he got robbed. Last year Myles Garrett did not deserve it. TJ Watt deserved it last year. 100%. You say or uh-huh?
I said, yeah, he got robbed. He definitely got robbed.
But this is a toss-up for me because you got Trey Hendrickson who stuffed the stat sheet. He had a lot of sacks, a lot of tackles. He looked really good for the Bengals. But then you got someone like Pat Surtain who has been impressive this season, not just by
like 8 picks, 7 picks.
Yeah, let me look it up right now. I think Zach Bond on this list is just kind of the odd man out.
Zach Bond got shafted.
Yeah. he had a great season this year, but not enough to win.
I
Defensive player
think
of the year.
I like
So-
seeing DBs get rewards because it's hard because that's the hardest. With
It's
me
a
playing
very
football
hard.
my whole life, that is the hardest position on the field.
Oh, it
Physically,
has.
you have to
mess up
guard different wide receivers. You
Correct.
have to guard tight ends. You have to be able to stuff the run as a corner, and you're smaller than everybody else. Like I've had to play in high school, and it's still hard, and I don't even make that position. Quarterback might be one of the hardest positions mentally, but physically and like how the game is played, I think corner is the hardest position. That position is so fundamentally, your footwork needs to be on point. And for him to be able to read the ball in the air against at the professional level and get that many picks, I honestly think it's either him or Myles Garrett, because Myles Garrett had such a good first half of the season and then kind of continued at it.
Yeah. Yes. And I would agree with you. I'm going to read off his stats right now. Just give it a sec. So he had 1 forced fumble, 4 picks, 11 PBUs, and 34 solo tackles, which isn't like super impressive on the stat sheet. That's pretty good, but I think like just by the way he's been playing, because what ESPN never writes on their stat lists is their like lockdown, like how many receivers he's locked down. And I saw a stat that like there was only 1 receiver that he let above 35 yards, and it was like some irrelevant receiver.
In 7 weeks, I think he had a total of like 60 yards received on him in like 6 or 7 weeks.
Which is crazy because especially in the
He
NFL,
held
where you play good receivers, especially in his division where he's got to match up against guys like, Lad McConkey, Devontae Adams for a little bit, and then on the Chiefs
he made Devontae go 1 for 6 off targets and receptions.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Devontae's elite, so that's crazy. I think he was locked down. Let me look up Trey Hendrickson's stats. But I think for those reasons, Pat Surtain is a very good candidate for this. So Trey Hendrickson had 33 solo tackles. He had 17 and a half sacks, which is very good. But I feel like for a defensive lineman to win this award, it has to be.
You got to get like 20. Yeah.
Because
it's like 22.5 is like that Hall of Fame kind of a stat.
Yes.
It's like 22
when
and a half.
He had like 19 and a half. Trey Hendrickson had 2 forced fumbles, so I feel like he's just outside the edge. I don't know why Myles Garrett is a finalist. In my opinion, Nick Bonito from the Broncos, he got snubbed for a finalist because he had really good – like he had so many interceptions, a lot of pick sticks. He's a rookie, and he was very good. He had 13 and a half sacks. He had 1 interception, which went for a pick 6, 2 forced fumbles, and 150-plus solo tackles. So he was very good this season. Very good.
Like we talked, stats mean a lot, but it's also kind of like how you contribute.
And he contributed a lot to his team.
Not necessarily like you don't have to get all the touchdowns in a game, but if you're getting the yards and setting yourself up for success, I mean, that's a big part. But you know how people look. It's off of the statistics and how they shine at the end of the season.
I agree with you.
It can go both ways.
And looking at TJ Watt's stats, so he didn't have his best season this year. He was injured for quite a bit. So he had 11 and a half sacks, 6 forced fumbles, which was the most in the league, and 150-plus tackles, or 40 tackles, 40. I don't know why I read 150-plus, 40 solo tackles. So those are good numbers, but not enough to win Defensive Player of the Year. But I feel like Merek always says, you always talk about consistency in players, and I think TJ Watt embodies that. He's very good at staying consistent every season, especially for only playing a few games. He had some really impressive stats. I don't think he'll win it this year, but I definitely think that he's a great player and will continue to win more Defensive Player of the Years to come. But if I had to lock in my final prediction, my Defensive Player of the Year, in my opinion, is Patrick Surtain.
I would definitely second that. Bryce, you got any ideas on this?
Ooh, I don't really follow up with a lot of NFL, so like I feel like I don't know a lot like deep or like corners and all that, but like I definitely think Myles Garrett had a good season. TJ Watt definitely had a good season.
Myles Garrett was injured a lot.
I know, but even
with the numbers he put up with being injured
when he was playing, he put up a lot of huge numbers with like how little he played. But I'm a big TJ Watt person.
14 sacks, 3 fumbles, which isn't as good as
Watt person. So I
think Trey Hendrickson would definitely be 2, but
it's either Trey Hendrickson or Pat Surtain, in my opinion. My personal one is Patrick Surtain.
But I think Patrick definitely deserves it more just because he's been a more dominant person in his position. So, and statistically, it would show that he was more dominant than everyone else in his position. So I think that's definitely an interesting thing to look at too.
Look at that.
And
we all agree.
My question is for the awards, do you think the person who has the best statistical season should win it, or the person who played better on their team?
That's when I come in with
Sorry, go
consistency
ahead.
and stats and just overall. Like, it's your overall season.
Yeah, I
Like-
feel like it's individually player and not really. It shouldn't be measured by team performance. Like Trey Hendrickson is a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year. Joe Burrow is a finalist for Offensive Player of the Year. Their team went 9-8. Myles Garrett, finalist for Defensive Player of the Year. The Browns were like 4-13 or 5-12 or something like that.
So we're so sorry.
I don't think. Yeah, they were sorry this year. Deshaun Watson massage.
They went
Man.
3-14.
Hey, don't count out Justin Tucker now.
Justin Tucker, the new massage man.
Yo,
Bro,
bro,
brothers,
that's
bro.
crazy.
They're brothers. All right. Before we get too off topic on Justin Tucker, Rookie of the Year. So we got Brock Bowers, Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Bo Nix, and Brian Thomas Jr. So before I get into my prediction, I just got to give a shout out to Brian Thomas Jr. Brian Thomas Jr.
Wait, what are the
had
finalists?
Brock Bowers, Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Bo Nix, and Brian Thomas Jr.
Okay, I have some good things to say.
Yes. So Brian Thomas Jr., I feel like I don't think he'll win this, but I just have a feeling that I need to shout him out because he was like the third receiver taken in the draft. Everyone was kind of like, he kind of fell down everyone's radar because, like, you know, there's other receivers like Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Neighbors in the draft. But he put up 1,282 yards and 10 touchdowns on 87 receptions, which is elite for a rookie season. So he had the best wide receiver rookie season, not of all time, definitely not of all time. One of the best all time. Very good season. Feel like I should give him credit. Malik Neighbors had slightly worse season than Brian Thomas, but still a very good season. But I don't think either of them is good enough to win this. Bo Nix had 3,500 passing yards, 29 touchdowns, and 12 picks, and a numerous amount of rushing touchdowns and a receiving touchdown. Very good season. But for me, my offensive rookie of the year, it should be pretty obvious, but I say it's got to be Jaden Daniels because Jaden Daniels put up an impressive stat sheet this season. He was passing the ball very good. He brought the Commanders team all the way to the NFC Championship. He could run the ball very good. He had some impressive stats, eye-opening stats. But I feel I need to give a shout-out to Brock Bowers, who had 112 receptions, which is impressive for a rookie, third in the league, 1,194 receiving yards, which was most of a tight end, and 5 touchdowns. So Brock Bowers had a great season. Unfortunately, he had Jaden Daniels to compete with, but this is a very stacked class of rookies, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think I definitely like Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers was a very dominant rookie tight end. Now, someone who I kind of feel like wasn't talked about a lot was Ladd McConkey. I feel like he was a pretty good player too. That
Finally.
no one really. Yeah, I know, but but I feel like he definitely deserves like
1,000 yards.
Yeah, 82 receptions, 1,149 yards, 17 touchdowns, and an average of 14 yards.
7?
7, sorry. Yeah, 7.
Yeah. Adam in fantasy. No way he had 17 touchdowns.
Yeah, no, but it's definitely like he definitely was a good player. Like he wasn't bad at all.
Yeah, he just unfortunately missed the mark. I think he should have been up there instead of Malik Neighbors, but
yeah,
you
also have to realize that Malik Neighbors was on a horrible Giants team, like horrible.
Oh yeah,
He was getting the people who were throwing him the ball was like Tommy DeVito,
Daniel Jones,
Daniel Jones, Drew Lock. Like even with the bum ass quarterbacks that he had, he still put up an impressive stat sheet. So
missing a few games too.
Yeah, so you definitely got to give him kudos too. But
I give him
nobody can pass up Jaden Daniels. Come on, man. He is the better. I feel personally, if he continues doing what he's doing, he's going to be a better Lamar Jackson. But a pass first Lamar Jackson. So it's interesting to see that too. That's just my opinion.
I'm definitely going to have to. I'm going to start off with Brock Bowers. He had a fantastic season on the Raiders. I hate that he had to do it on the Raiders because I'm a Niner fan, so we don't really click. But like Brock Bowers having 1,000, almost 200 yards receiving in his rookie year. He played all 17 games, 112 receptions, had 153 targets. So that's a very high percentage of him catching most of his passes, including, but there could be anything like, defender held, anything. But he had like 70 yards per game. That's elite. And which the reason why I'm not going to put him as my rookie of the year is, one, there's just a better candidate in here. It's obvious. But in multiple seasons, I mean, you have George Kittle in the last like 3-4 seasons he's had like 1,100 plus. Travis Kelce had like 3 years in a row that I think he was 1,000 plus. Kyle Pitts, his rookie year, had 1,026 receiving yards.
He hasn't been good since that, though.
Yeah, but he hasn't been good. But I'm just saying, like, there's a lot. I mean, you can go down the list. There's a whole bunch. Like Sam Laporta last year had 900.
He kind of fell off this year, not gonna lie.
Yeah, he didn't have a good season.
But in my opinion, it's got to be Jane Daniels. He went to a poverty team. He gave Terry McLaurin his first 2 playoff wins that he's ever had in like 4 years of being in the league, 3 years of being in the league. That kid, Terry McLaurin, is a dog. He's a dog.
Yeah. They don't call him Scary Terry for nothing.
To walk in. He's single, by the way. His mom says no girls are allowed. And he's just balling. I mean, he's playing the sport for the sport because he still has that rookie contract, so he's not getting money. So he's one of those guys that I have a lot of respect for. Like Tom Brady played for the sport. Aaron Rodgers playing for the sport. Peyton Manning played for it. Who else? Andrew Luck. No one really talks about him. Could have been elite.
Yeah, he was a dog.
Could have been elite, but he had a family and a couple of injuries that his wife just didn't want him to go through.
I never retired at 29. That would have been awesome.
But there's just so many things that could happen. But definitely shout out to Brock Bowers having a fantastic season on the most poverty team that I can't stand. But Jay Daniels is the rookie of the year.
I agree. Okay, so moving on, we got defensive rookie of the year. So Merek and I actually got into this before we started recording. So I'm going to read off the finalists. He got Cooper DeJean. I know Merek's a big Cooper DeJean fan. We got Braden Fisk, Quinion Mitchell, Chop Robinson, and Jared Verse. So Merek, I'm going to let you talk about this first because I know you got some opinions on this one.
I like going off what you say. So no, I give it to you.
Oh, okay.
You go.
All right, so before this, I'm a little spoiler for what Merek thinks. Before we were recording, me and Merek were arguing. So Merek thinks that defensive player of the year is Cooper DeJean. My defensive player of the rookie of the year is Jared Verse because Jared Verse has had great stats this season. There was this one play against the Eagles in the playoff game where Saquon Barkley ran in like a very long touchdown, very, very long touchdown. Jared Verse chased him down, ran 21 miles per hour as a linebacker, which is impressive, a crazy athleticism. So his stats, he had 4.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 36 tackles. The sacks number isn't very high, but he made a huge impact on this Rams defense and was part of the reason why they made it that far. Now, for Merek's Cooper DeJean argument, Cooper DeJean was great, but I don't even think Cooper DeJean was the best rookie corner on his team. I think Quinion Mitchell was better than Cooper DeJean this year. Quinion Mitchell did not have as many picks, but Quinion Mitchell was locked down. But Merek, I'm gonna let you combat this.
Definitely, I definitely have to agree with your statement. I mean, don't get me wrong. His name is Jared Verse, I think. Yeah, right. Jared Verse. He did extremely well. I mean, like you said, 21 an hour.
21 miles per hour at 260 pounds. That's
great. But that's something they train for. They need to be that elite. They need to be able to compete. That's what gets them in these conversations. And the thing about Cooper DeJean, he went to an elite team that's now in the Super Bowl. They have an elite offense, a very good defense. They have Darius Slay. I mean, a whole bunch. And for Cooper DeJean to make the impact that he did and on this team and get the interceptions and the 13 assisted tackles. He even has a couple sacks as a corner. He's kind of like a utility player. They kind of just put him everywhere. I mean, he kind of manhandled Derrick Henry. He manhandled Derrick Henry, and that doesn't really happen. I know that's kind of just like my own stat, but like still, I mean, like you see, I don't even remember his name, but like picked up and tossed like a baby. I mean, that's a big deal in my opinion. And
Josh Norman, he tossed Josh Norman.
That's his name.
Nice, actually. He used Earl Thomas as a blocker and he tossed Josh Norman. So, but Merek, how can he be your defensive player of the year when he's a cornerback with zero interceptions, bro?
But you had Darius Slay.
Yeah, but in order to be defensive player, rookie of the year, you got to be the best on your team, or not on your team. You need to be the best rookie on your team. I don't even think Cooper DeJean was the best rookie corner on this team. I think Quinion Mitchell was better than Cooper DeJean this season.
So the thing is, I obviously these are all biased as an extent, unless some of them like what's his name, Jaden Daniels. That's just obvious, but a lot of it goes into biasness. And I really like Cooper DeJean because one, there's songs about him, it's hecka funny, and then I just watched him and he was good.
Quarterback one. That song's
But
fire.
he allowed 52 receptions on him in his rookie season in 17 games, which is very impressive. It's like 2.9 per game is what it says. He only allowed a total of like 300 yards in this season, which is fantastic as a rookie to go against some of the elite players that he does have to go against.
That's true, but I feel like Quinion Mitchell had a better season because I think Quinion Mitchell, I don't know the specifics, but I saw pretty interesting statistics through the year that Quinion Mitchell locked up like a lot of receivers, and he has a really high PFF grade. He also has 0 interceptions. He had 1 in the playoffs, if you count that. No forced fumbles, which Cooper DeJean does have that advantage over him. But Quinion Mitchell has double the pass defenses that Cooper DeJean had. I think overall Quinion Mitchell is the better player on the Eagles, and I don't think either of them are my rookie of the year. Mine is Jared Verse. Bryce, what do you think? We got mine and Merek's opinion, but now we got to listen to Bryce.
Honestly, I don't think I can add too much to this debate here because I don't really know a lot about the defensive rookies, so I feel like I can't really add a lot. I definitely do know about Cooper DeJean, though. He is cornerback 1. He really isn't, but he's
cornerback 3.
He's my favorite white cornerback in the league. So let's just leave it there.
Jackie Robinson.
That's crazy.
But anyway, my defensive rookie of the year, Jared Verse. Merek likes Cooper DeJean, and we got Bryce's opinion. So there's 3 more. So we got AP comeback player of the year. So our finalists are Joe Burrow, Sam Darnold, J.K. Dobbins, Christian Gonzalez, and DeMar Hamlin. So I'm going to go candidate by candidate. Joe Burrow, I feel like he had a great season, but I don't think he's worthy of comeback player of the year because he didn't really come back from anything. Sure, he had an injury last season, but like he was still the same elite quarterback, and we all knew he was going to bounce back. So him doing great this season wasn't really expected. Sam Darnold, 4,000 yards, 35 touchdowns, 12 picks after being a career backup for 2 seasons and not being a very good quarterback when starting for the Jets and Panthers. Pretty good resume. J.K. Dobbins, 2 season-ending leg injuries, back-to-back years. Nobody thought he would be good because of so many injuries, but he came out swinging with the Chargers, and he was the best running back on that Chargers team and was part of the reason why the Chargers went to the playoffs. So shout out him. Christian Gonzalez, second-year corner, lockdown, absolutely lockdown, hardly lets any receptions. He doesn't really have any interceptions. He doesn't really stuff the stat sheet like that, but just like we said about Pat Surtain, he is really good at locking down elite receivers, and he came back from a torn ACL last year, so that's something to consider. And then we got DeMar Hamlin, last season, I feel like last season he maybe deserved it, but this season he's actually you got to keep in mind 2 years ago this guy went in cardiac arrest, and this year he had a pretty good season, but I don't think it's enough. My personal comeback player of the year is Sam Darnold because he just had a crazy season.
Here, I actually do have an opinion on this one, so let me go. I definitely think that Sam Darnold definitely did put up stats to show that he deserved it. But you also have to account that DeMar Hamlin, before he went into cardiac arrest, he was like a starter, went into cardiac arrest, lost his position, and then he had to fight back for it. He literally was at the top, went to the bottom, and has built his way back up. So I feel like he definitely deserves to be recognized, maybe even win it, because he came back from so much, not just an injury, but came back from possibly even losing his life. So I feel like in that aspect, I feel like he definitely deserves it, but you can't leave out Sam Darnold just because he was being passed around on teams. He was a backup. It sucks, but I'm happy that he's finally able to make a name for himself, and maybe they might start him over their rookie. You never know.
Merek, what do you think?
I'm going to go with Joe. I definitely got to go Sam Darnold. Being a career backup, especially as a quarterback, it sucks, especially when you had good college stats. You get drafted high, and that happens. I mean, it sucks. But Jimmy Garoppolo was behind, what's his name, for 4 years.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady forever. Steve Young was behind Joe Montana.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, and then they come out and be great. I mean, what was I gonna say though? Like, yes, DeMar Hamlin's coming off of that. I mean, life changing like situation, but like, yes, it was 2 years ago. So for him, I mean, finally have a decent season, yeah. But then you got to think Eric Berry.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't get it. I don't think. Brian. I don't know if it was Brian Robinson or if it was Bijan Robinson when they got shot and came back. I mean, you can even give it. You can even put Ricky Pearsall in this conversation. He got shot like a couple weeks before the season started, and then he had 400 receiving yards this year. So in that situation, a lot of other people got shafted. So that's what pushes me off the edge to not pick DeMar Hamlin.
I agree with you. And it's unfortunate that those things do happen to people, but at the end of the day, I feel like football is more than a game, but I feel like at the end of the day, football is the game also. And Sam Darnold had a amazing season, and I think he deserves it the most.
I agree.
So we got one last one. We got AP Coach of the Year. Do you guys want to do Assistant Coach of the Year too?
No.
Nah.
All right. Coach of the Year, we got Dan Campbell, Kevin O'Connell of the Vikings, Sean Payton of the Broncos, Dan Quinn of the Commanders, and Andy Reid of the Chiefs. So I'm going to go off and say it. Like, first thing I think Dan Campbell should not be considered for this award. Sure, he had the best he had a 14-3 record in the regular season, but you go in your first playoff game and lose to the Commanders, get out of here. Same thing with Kevin O'Connell. Had a great season with the Vikings, especially since his roster. Everyone was predicting the Vikings to have like 6 or 7 wins, but he brought them to like 13 wins. But then again, they lost in the very first round to Jared Verse and the Vikings. So I think those two are out. Sean Payton had an amazing season, brought his team, who had a slump last year, to the playoffs. Broncos went to the playoffs for the first time in 8 years. I think Sean Payton's a great coach, but I think it needs a year or two before he gets Coach of the Year. Then we got Andy Reid, who's always good every year. But shout out to my Coach of the Year, Dan Quinn, head coach of the Commanders. I mean, he brought the Commanders to the playoffs. Jaden brought them all the way to the NFC. Him and Jaden Daniels brought that team all the way to the NFC Championship. Dan Quinn coached the Falcons team that went to the Super Bowl until Kyle Shanahan choked the game away. I think Dan Quinn's a great coach, and I think he's the most deserving of Coach of the Year.
I'm going to have to back that.
I back that too. He had an amazing offseason. He had an amazing draft process. He definitely did everything right to put his team in the best position that he could have been in. And he surpassed the expectations that he put in place for the team. So I definitely think that he's most worthy of the award. But then you also have to realize the Vikings, people counted them out earlier this season. It kind of looked like a fluke. And then they go on and do something big. Even though they did lose against the Rams, they still put up a good season and a good fight. So that's also interesting.
Yeah. So
for me,
go ahead.
For me, I'm going to go with Commanders coach. I mean, it's just, you can say that everyone counted the Vikings out, but you can count them out and they still do good, whatever. But nobody even thought about the Commanders. They thought Jaden Daniels would help, but they thought it was going to be like what's his face? Caleb Williams, just kind of just a quarterback to a poverty franchise that's not in a good phase. And then they shine out. Like, they didn't even think of them. Of course, you got to put Andy Reid in that conversation. I mean, we hate the Chiefs. At least I do. I can't stand them. I do not want them to three-peat, go Eagles. But 3 years in a row, he's even taken the Eagles to the championship. I mean, he's just an all-around great coach.
I agree.
But with that, I'm taking his name's Dan Quinn, I think, right?
Dan Quinn, yeah.
So I'm taking Dan Quinn.
That's everything we got for award predictions.
Okay, we had another section in place, but I think we're going to skip over that one and save it for the next podcast. Next part of the podcast is, unfortunately, I was stupid and I have to do something because I promised to do it. Do you want me to take the stage? You guys just listen to it?
Oh, my phone goes on.
Okay. Here it goes. This is my apology to all the Arsenal fans. I had the amazing script written out for everyone. So it has become clear that Arsenal is significantly better than Manchester City. They have been set up to have a dynasty. They have the best player in the Premier League, Bukayo Saka, the best defender in the league, Saliba, and the best midfielder in the league, Odegaard, and the best youth player in the world, or in the league, Lewis Skelly. They are the new face of the Premier League. Now, I want to say a lot of other things about that because I don't agree, but because I lost the bet, I have to say that. I wear a Barcelona jersey just because, yeah, it speaks for itself. Okay, I'm done. I actually want to kill myself. Not literally. Not literally. I'm just not happy with what I said. Okay, next part of the podcast. Drafting an
I've been waiting for this. My lists are up. My list is up. I've been waiting.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Please, can I get the first round pick?
Straight off my dome.
No. Here's what I got. Okay, the fans can't see it because it's on my phone, but I have an wheel app where I'm going to spin the wheel. It's going to have all of our names. I'm going to say who won. Okay.
Okay. So this is like draft order.
Yeah, this is the draft order. Okay.
Is we just gonna go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3? Or are we gonna go 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3.
Yeah, snake draft. Okay, first pick of the draft. I'm spinning the wheel. Is me. I'm the blue. You guys see my name. I get the first pick of the draft.
Please, I want to go third then.
I want to go third.
I want to go
second pick of the draft. Can you guys see that? Merek? It's Merek.
Oh!
Yeah.
It's fine.
Joe, you get the last pick of the draft.
I'm still going to get the best team. I'm still going to get the best team.
I'm not going to get the best guy. Oh, shoot.
Now,
I already know I'm going.
I actually came prepared this time. Last draft, I think I might have had the biggest blunder of Sports and Beyond history. So I printed out a fantasy football cheat sheet. Or not fantasy football, basketball. So I have the names. I have the PR ratings.
I'm going off the
I
dome.
have the first pick in my hand. So I don't know where we're building a team. It's an 8-man rotation. And then the goal is we're going to throw our teams into NBA 2K25. We're going to simulate it. And then the next episode that Merek's on, we're going to announce who has the better team and stuff like that.
Simulated in 2K.
Yes. I want to emphasize that. Okay. First pick of the draft. Ooh, there's so many people here.
Look at this nerd looking at his clipboard.
I am.
I got it off the dome, bro. I already know. I'm telling you, I'm going to have the most different draft.
Probably me too.
I feel like there's a few players I could get here. But with the first pick of the Sports and Beyond 8-man NBA draft, give me Victor Wembanyama.
Okay, that's valid.
I can't stand you. I was hoping he would fall. Okay. It's a very good pick. He got defense. Yeah. I mean, he's blocked 200 out of the 400 opponents he's faced. I mean, he's probably going to win. He's eventually, by the end of his career, I think he might be the best defensive big man or player ever. He's like that.
Yeah.
So with that being said,
happy with that.
I'm going to take the 1 as my first pick as the point guard. I'm going to go with SGA.
All right.
Consistent. He can pass. He could shoot. He's just an all-around player.
I like these picks because I get 2 picks now. And the guy I wanted to take first is available. I'm going to take Giannis Antetokounmpo because he can play defense and offense. What do you mean what? He can play defense and elite defender, elite offense. And I'm going to go with Nikola Jokic.
Damn it! I was hoping that you weren't going to take him so I could get him on the bench or something. I was going to put
Giannis and
Jokic on the bench. Yeah.
Jokic can play defense too, but Jokic is an amazing offense guy. So Giannis and Jokic, I'm extremely happy about that.
Okay. I don't know how. Oh wait, I don't get the pick. Merek gets the pick.
So I only get 1. This what sucks about being the second, but I'm still him. I can go. There's a lot. I think I'm gonna go with the vet. Take him. I might sacrifice a pick and then get it maybe not as good as a big man later. But I need to take this scorer and defender. He's just been a vet. He knows the league. You know how it is. He's very consistent every year. I'm going with Kevin Durant at my 3.
That's valid.
Okay. KD is off the list. I don't even see. I do see KD.
Right, you have 2 picks.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Here's my thing, right? I got Victor Wembanyama, the alien. I'm going to run him at my 5. So And then I'm going to go. I think I'm gonna go guard here. We left Luka Doncic out. Like nobody picked Luka Doncic so far, so I'm gonna go Luka at my 1.
That's
So I
valid.
got Luka at my 1,
Luka
Wemby at my 5. I want to go. I need to go defense here. I mean, I got Wemby, but I think I'm gonna go the next best defensive big. We talked about him earlier in the podcast. I feel like I kind of want to go. I want to go Anthony Davis here. I think I'm like an Anthony Davis. I'm going 80.
All right. Go
All
for it.
right.
You could have him all day long.
The 2 dudes in the trade.
That's crazy. He did do that. I'm going to go with, okay, what do I need? I can go big man now and then pick from there, but okay, do I go let me think. For my okay, so yeah, he's one. Okay, so with my big man, with my 5, I'm gonna take. I know we got some mixed opinions on him, but in reality, you got to admit he is very, very, very good. He's got like 33 points right now, 10 rebounds with 4 assists. I'm taking Joel Embiid as my 5.
Bro might sprain his eyebrow. Be careful.
Hey, but it's also the NBA, so you know he's gonna play, bro. Or it's 2K.
No, he's gonna sprain his eyebrow in the first week.
But 2K does have
injury
tendencies.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll figure out the rules and all that when we go into the NBA sim.
So I have 2 bigs. I have a power forward and a center in Giannis and Jokic. So I'm gonna take a guard. Need a ball dominant guard that can score.
I know.
So I'm gonna go ahead and go with Anthony Edwards.
I knew it. I just highlighted him too. Damn it.
Yeah, and then I get another pick. So
crap.
I got some options here. You know what? Are we factoring injury into this?
No, this is no injury.
Okay, so
no injury.
when we simulate it in 2K, like injuries will be off.
Yeah.
Okay, so for my small forward, I'm gonna go with Kawhi Leonard. Give me someone that can play defense on the starting 5, and Kawhi Leonard is that guy that can play elite defense.
Kawhi Leonard, I did not see that happening.
You took my pick.
Yeah, I need someone on that starting 5 that can play good defense.
So I got
I
SGA.
don't want to take next.
KD.
Okay,
I know what I'm doing. I have to do it. Wait, did you take your 2?
Yeah, I took Anthony Edwards and Kawhi.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. I hate to do it. I'm surprised it didn't go sooner, just knowing with who's in this call, or in this podcast. But at my 4, I'm gonna move KD to the 4, and at my 3,
LeBron.
I gotta take Bon Bon. I have to.
All right, that's valid.
I gotta take Bon Bon.
He's still good, but he's
and you got to think 2K. He's like a 97 overall in 2K right now. So I mean,
he's 96.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, it's my turn. I get 2 picks, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? Interesting pick here. You guys might not agree with me, but I'm feeling very confident and happy with this pick. I might go. No. I'm going to go with either a small forward. I'm going to go with my small forward right now. Give me Jason Tatum from the Boston Celtics.
Oh, I forgot about him. Okay.
I'm going to
take him, bro.
I'm running him at my 3. Okay. So right now, obviously I'm building my starting 5. So I need a shooting guard, right? Now this is interesting. There's players on the list. I'm going to name them out so you guys can get snubbed of them. There's still someone like Tyrese Halliburton. Obviously, he's a point guard, but he can play the shooting guard. There's someone like Donovan Mitchell, someone who catches my eye. Someone like Devin Booker, Scotty Barnes. But someone who really catches my eye, you know what? Guess what? Guess how tall he is. Just guess how tall he is.
Zach Edey, 7'4".
Yep, he's gonna pick a 6'7" guy.
This is my 2. He's 6'7". Give me LaMelo Ball.
I knew it. I knew you were taking LaMelo. You can take him all day long.
Yeah, you can have him. Never.
I'm taking at my 2, Devin Booker.
Okay.
He matches well with SGA. He's
I
going to
would've
blend
taken
with KD because they're already on the same team. It's going to be great.
All right, so now I got 2 picks. So I have a shooting guard in Anthony Edwards. I have a small forward in Kawhi, power forward in Giannis, center in Jokic. So this team is missing a point guard that can really dish this ball around. And Bryce literally just said his name. With my point guard, I'm going with Tyrese Halliburton, baby. Pass that ball around.
He can play the guard too. He can play the guard. You don't have to get a guard off the bench.
Yeah, he can play point guard. He can play. He's a very good point guard. Yep. So I'm going with Tyrese Halliburton. And so that's it for my starting 5. So now I'm going to start looking at bench players. And honestly, for my first bench player, I got to go with somebody. Merek, you're going to be pissed off at me when I make this pick. You know what's coming. I'm going with the guy who's been statistically the best 6th man of the year, has elevated his team's level of play when he's been on the court. Give me Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, go. Actually, I'm proud of that. I wasn't gonna take him for this just because of 2K logic, but I like that pick a lot.
Oh yeah, 2K logic. Yeah.
So now I got 6, 7, and 8 players.
Yeah, but like you can't pick a starter. It has to be somebody that's a current 6th man in the NBA.
Oh, okay. Let me change this a little bit. I gotta think. Okay, so you took Russ. That's very good. I gotta think. This might take a second. Oh, I like him. This is hard because to find him, I was gonna pick a starter and just move him to the bench.
I hope y'all take one.
Wait, Joe, who'd you pick? Who'd you pick as your 6th man?
Russell Westbrook.
As your 6th man right now?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? So we have to pick a 6th man, right?
Yeah. Can't be anyone.
Okay.
We left board. We left Sabonis, Jaren Jackson Jr., DeMar.
Are we allowed to pick starters and then just put them on the bench?
No.
Oh, we got to pick actually. Okay.
I feel like we should at least be able to pick a 1 starter and put him on the bench. What do you think, Joe?
Okay, fine. Yeah, 1 starter, put him on the bench.
Okay, but the
the
first
other
pick
ones
don't
have
do
to be
it. First
bench
pick don't do
players.
it.
Yeah, because just to make it fair for Joe. Yeah. Unless you want to take back that pick, Joe.
Nah, I stand on Russ.
Okay, then I think I know I'm gonna go. I think if my computer will load, just give me a tad. So.
Mm-hmm. So we left some good players on this board. So there's still.
So big men are hard to get for the backup. So what I'm gonna take is because he can play the 4 or the 5. I'm gonna take Nas Reed.
I was just looking at him right now. I was about to talk about him.
Very
I
good.
was doing research, and then he run what? I think he run one 6th man of the year
last year. Yes, he did.
Yeah. I don't remember who it was because I remember he was very good. He averaged like 13 and 8 with 6 or something like that. It was really good.
He did. Yep. Okay. You know, I'm struggling to find a good 6th man of the year. But I have a question, Joe. Now that De'Aaron Fox is no longer on the Kings, can we consider Malik Monk a 6th man?
Ooh. I'd say yes, because the majority of the games he's played this year was on the bench so far.
Okay. But there's another guy that I have in mind, but sometimes he does start, but I feel like we see him more coming off the bench, and that's Amin Thompson. So I'm second between Amin Thompson, Amin Thompson, Asar Thompson, or Malik Monk. But I think I'm going to go Amin Thompson just because, he's a dog. He is a dog.
He's like 87 overall in 2K, so that doesn't help our cases.
So, who else are you picking, Bryce?
Okay, so this could be a star. So, I'm gonna remind the viewers of my starting lineup right now. I got Luka Doncic at the 1, LaMelo Ball at the 2, Jason Tatum at the 3, Anthony Davis at the 4, Victor Wembanyama at the 5, Amin Thompson coming off the bench as my 6th man. Now my 7th man, I got a lot of ball dominant players. Luka Doncic could dribble up the court with the ball. LaMelo Ball can dribble. AD's pretty dominant player who can finish the ball. So I kind of want to go someone who will definitely elevate the team in a good way. I'm stuck in between 2 players right now. One just got to his team, not recently, but in the offseason. And then another one is a younger player. I'm stuck in between those 2. But there's also someone that we've talked about on the podcast too. Someone like Jimmy Butler's still on the list. But I think I'm going to go big here just because I feel like he could play the power forward. He could play the center. Give me Cat.
Okay. Yeah.
And after all
I
that,
like Cat. Because I was thinking of going for a guard, but I don't think I need a guard because LaMelo Ball is a tall guard. So
I'm gonna. Okay, so for my, I'm gonna take him just because I can have that dominant, star player on the bench. He's always gonna be good. We all know this. Wait, actually, let me think. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna take him. I'm gonna take, since I took Naz Reid as my 4 and 5, so he can play either or. I'm gonna put Stephen Curry.
Okay.
I was looking at him, but I didn't want to take Stephen Curry just because I have Luka Doncic and LaMelo Ball.
We gotta think your bench though, and they rotate.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
because I got SGA, D-Book, and Steph Curry.
But you also have to realize I had Amin Thompson too, and he's also a guard. So
yeah, that's good.
I have 3 guards. I have 3 bigs. The only person I do need is a small forward power forward.
So for my last 2 picks, I gonna take a star, and this star, you guys may be like, "Huh? Why are you taking this guy?" Well, first of all, this guy's an 89 overall in 2K, and he's an amazing defensive big. Low-key, very underrated. Made the All-Star game this year.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
Very young, very great rookie. Or not rookie. Definitely not a rookie. Very young, very great player. For my All-Star 6th man or bench player, I'm going with Evan Mobley.
I just was looking at him.
Very good defensive player.
So that's your 8th, right?
Yep. And then somebody who actually comes off the bench that y'all may not know, who comes off the bench and plays amazing defense is OG Anunoby.
Yep, I saw that. I just looked it up. That's the annoying thing.
Boom, I'm going with OG, baby.
So I need a small forward. I need like a 2 or 3. This is hard. Does Jalen Williams come off the bench?
No, he starts. The one that plays for the Thunder?
Yeah, I just saw Jalen Williams too.
I really wish I took him.
Ooh, you know what?
What about Paul George? Is he starting?
Yeah, no, he isn't. I don't think.
Actually, no, he's not. He's
on the bench right now. That's not a bad pick. So there's Paul George.
PG-13. Well, right now he's PG-8.
Yeah, that's PG-8. There's Jaren Jackson. Yeah, he starts. I already have him big.
I have a very good big. That comes off the bench.
Jaylen Brown starts. I probably should have took Jaylen Brown. I'm going to go with Paul George. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to go with Paul George.
Okay. So right now, I'm in a predicament. And the last pick, I need someone who can play small forward. I need someone who can play power forward. But they need to be a bench player. That's the only struggle that I'm going with here. Ooh. I might take a little bit here. Sorry. Don't mind me.
Oh, I did too. I took a bit too.
It's a
Ooh,
business.
no, he can't. He's not going to.
I snipe OG Anunoby off your feet.
Someone who doesn't start but can play power forward and small forward. You know what? I'm thinking someone here. Joseph might hate me for it, so I'm not going to do that.
Trey Lyles.
Just
No, I was
saying,
gonna.
my starting 4 of my starting 5 is in the top 10 for 2K ratings. I didn't even know that. I just looked.
Damn. Joel Embiid's top 5.
He's top 10. They're in the top 10. Sorry, my top
Okay.
5. 4 of my starting 5 is in the top 10.
Let's see what SGA is. KD
So
is.
Jokic is at 1, Giannis at 2,
I have Jokic.
SGA at 3, Doncic
I have
at 4, LeBron at 5, Steph Curry at 6, Jason Tatum at 7, Kevin Durant at 8, Anthony Davis 9, and Joel Embiid at 10.
Damn, Anthony Davis is a little overrated.
Way
And
overrated.
LeBron.
It says he just went up too. Oh, it's
Damn
LeBron.
it. I was first thinking, the person that I definitely was thinking was Franz Wagner, but he's a starter.
He's
He's a starter. There's not a lot of, like, you know what? I might just have to go the one person that I know for sure doesn't start, but might do something. I guess I'm just going to take Keegan Murray. He's going to be my 8th man. He's not going to get a lot of minutes. I can't think of anyone else. I can't think of anyone else right now.
Keegan starts.
Does he? Does he
Yes.
actually?
Yes, Keegan starts.
Sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he doesn't. So,
But a lot of the time he does. I think he started like all the games besides like 4.
okay, hold on. Let me.
You know, we can count it, I guess, because
Okay. I'm looking.
Hey, we can. Do you guys want to make trades?
Nah, not right now.
I'm good
No.
with this, bro.
I know. I'm just.
We can make trade. I mean, later on, yeah, but right now, hell no. I like my team right now. Ooh,
Any day now, Bryce. It's been like 4 minutes.
you know what? I might just play someone who will play out of position. LaMelo Ball is pretty tall for a guard, so I could throw him into the small forward. I think I'm just gonna take Ahmed Thompson's twin, Asar Thompson.
Okay,
He doesn't start, so
I guess. You
kind of got shafted with being the first pick. Now I think about it.
no. I think my starting 5 is probably good. But so how are we gonna do like the minutes? Like how are the minutes gonna be distributed?
You can do it on 2K. You can just give them.
You can make it even.
Yeah.
Try to make it as even as possible so everyone plays, and so.
Okay, so I think the plan is I'm gonna restart the whole NBA. Every team's gonna have no players. Everyone's gonna be in free agency. Each respective team is gonna pick up. There's gonna be no salary cap, obviously. Each team's gonna pick up their team. And then the rest of the player pool goes to a random team. Whoever picks up anybody on the
Do we all want to pick our
free
teams?
agency.
Do you all want to pick our teams?
We just picked our teams.
No, I mean like our.
Oh yeah, we could all pick our teams that will be representing in 2K. Joe, who do you want to go? Actually, I got the first pick.
Yeah,
But you just went.
You
But I
got
just went, so it
So
would
is
be
this fall to
Merek.
me?
Yeah.
I'm taking OKC.
Okay.
So you guys can just pick whatever.
Bryce, I'm gonna be a good Samaritan, and I know you want to take the Kings, and I'm gonna take my new favorite team. Just
the
kidding.
Spurs.
I wish they were. I wish I was a fan of them. The Spurs, De'Aaron Fox, baby, give me the Spurs.
You know what, Joe? I actually didn't want to take the Sacramento Kings. I was actually going to take the Phoenix Suns just because their jerseys look pretty damn good. So,
oh, okay. Well,
I'll be representing the Phoenix Suns.
My new
Okay,
favorite.
Merek
see.
will be representing Thunder, and then Joe will be representing the Spurs.
My new
Very
favorite.
interesting draft. Very interesting draft. Who before we put in the sim, who do you guys think is going to have the best team?
Me.
Not yourself, obviously.
Maybe.
Will be better just because of Merek's 2K. Like Merek's team is like old headed, but like it's the 2K ratings they'll get our asses.
Who took? Honestly, I think mine might be Joe's because he took Jokic and Giannis. So it's very possible. But Bryce also has AD. I think he took Tatum, right?
Yeah.
Jason
Tatum and Luka.
I have Luka,
So-
Tatum, LaMelo Ball, Anthony Davis, Victor Wembanyama, Cat. My bench isn't looking good, but they're buckets, bro. They're buckets on the bench.
It's 2K.
So you're telling me Amin Thompson and Cat aren't good players?
It's 2K.
They are. It's just a lot of offense.
Yeah, I pick all around.
Almond's very good in 2K though. Almond has like an 87 in 2K, so
Bro,
Like
why
Cat's-
play defense when you just outscore your opponents?
Cat's
Welcome
like
to
a
the
90
Lakers.
in 2K, so our benches might be cooked. But
My
Yeah.
bench is who's my bench? Who'd
I got
pick?
Russ, Evan Mobley, and OG.
I
Which
took Steph Curry, which he's a 95. I took Nas Reed, which I gotta find Nas Reed.
I think he's like low 80s.
80,
probably.
81.
He's 81.
Yeah, Russ is an 83, Evan Mobley's an 89, and OG's an 85.
And then who did I take as my other one? I took
You
Paul
took-
George. Paul George is an 85. So 95, 85, and like 81.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think that wraps up the draft portion of the podcast. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap it up? Right now, it's nothing compares to the podcast we had previously, but I feel like this podcast definitely contained a lot.
Definitely.
Hour 16 is pretty good.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to say before we wrap it up, or?
Let's hear Joe's special quote before we go. Inspiring
Okay, Joe,
quote.
quote of the day.
Quote of the day. Let's see. Oh, from Mr. Miyagi himself. It's okay to lose to your opponent, but it's not okay to lose to fear. So just letting y'all know that if you're afraid to compete in something or do something, don't let the fear. It's okay to lose to your opponent. Just don't lose to the fear. Don't let the fear overtake you and take that shot that you want to take. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, Michael Jordan.
Bro used that quote in probably every single episode of Sports and Beyond podcast.
It's going to be in every episode.
Okay. Well, like I said in previous episodes, thank you everyone who's watched, commented, liked, subscribed, shared the podcast. Thank you to all the people who have actually engaged and told us verbally and online that they enjoy watching the podcast. Shout out to Steve Lopes for watching literally every single episode. He's the GOAT. He's
New
the
fan.
GOAT. So other than that, I feel like kudos everyone. If anyone's interested in coming on the podcast, make sure you guys text the Instagram.
DM the Instagram.
DM.
Figure something out. We'll figure something out. Thank you again for everyone. See you guys next episode. Peace.